So before I move on, we talked about last week. We talked about artists' evaluation of themselves and whether or not artists are cut out to be in this business in the first place. It's a tough, tough business. And I got to tell you, I think it's probably one of the hardest businesses in the world. I've been doing it a long time, and I've realized that you have to maximize all of your income sources. If you think you're going to be successful by just gigging, think again. You're going to have days off. You're going to have gigs that don't pay. You're going to have some problems with just gigging. So you're going to be wanting to look at other income sources, recordings, merchandise, licensing, teaching. There's a whole bunch of other types of things. But one thing you have to recognize, and I saw this when I started thinking about the business. When you're a writer, and most of you are writers of some sort or creators, when you're doing it just for yourself, you don't have anything to worry about. You can write, you can do art, you can, create and be as creative as you want or avant-garde as you want. But as soon as you start working with somebody else, the game changes. As soon as you start collaborating, the game changes. People will expect from you, and you will expect from them. So when I start working with an artist, here are some of the things that I expect the artist to do. Number one, be professional at all times and expect others to be professional. It's the old saying, you act like a professional, you get treated like a professional. So act like a professional and be professional in this industry. If you're an amateur, that's fine, but don't clog up the pipelines. Be prepared mentally, physically, musically, and creatively. I'm also looking for people to prepare and follow a plan and a schedule. Identify your team. Regularly communicate with your team, your band, and your fans. Create a constant flow of new quality content. Constant flow. So, for example, you don't drop an album, you drop a single, and then another single, and then another single, and then another single, and then the album. That way you're showing consistency, and fans will start looking forward to the new constant flow. Accept and delegate responsibilities. Don't do it all yourself. It's way too hard. Provide incentives for delegated and completed jobs. For example, maybe one of your team members finds a gig for the artist. Well, wouldn't it make sense to pay them an agent fee, maybe 10%? Wouldn't this incentivize them to go and find more gigs if they're going to get paid to do it? I would think so. So if someone's doing some work for the artist and the artist is making money from it, incentivize that person to do it again. Okay, hone your chops, tighten your songs, as well as your performance set lists. One of my pet peeves is somebody on stage that turns around to the band and says, well, what do you guys want to play next? Shows lack of professionalism. Okay, so strive to be outstanding. Practice your instrument, practice your vocals, practice your song parts, and practice the breaks. Okay, so the breaks sometimes are within the song, and also the breaks are between songs on stage. What are you going to say? How are you going to say it? Remember, you're an entertainer when you're on stage. Yes, you're playing music, but you're an entertainer. You have to entertain the audience. And hopefully you'll entertain them with your music, but what about between songs? Are you going to be able to thank the sponsor or the venue or maybe tell a joke or something that's entertaining? You're in the entertainment business. Number 11, respect others on the team and their time, their contributions, and their commitment. That means don't be late. have a performance, don't be late. All right, be prepared for rehearsals. Remember, there's practice and there's rehearsals. There's a difference. Chart your goals and your successes. If you don't chart it, you won't think you're achieving anything. Those clients of mine that don't chart their stuff, they say, I haven't gotten anywhere in a year. And I say, if you chart where you are now, and then in a year you go back and look at it, you'll see how much you've improved. So chart it. You'll feel better about your career.
What kind of like accomplishments or like milestones would you suggest charting down?
Gigs, mentions in the newspaper, airplay, new songs you've written, maybe a new merchandise that you may have come up with, anything that benefits the artist.
So just like a progress report of anything that's going on.
Yep.
Okay.
So within that process, review, evaluate, and set new improvement levels constantly. So you're always trying to get better. Every time you have a gig, for example, you want to talk about the gig. What went good? I call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What was really good, what was really bad, and what was just atrociously ugly about it. Now, when you have those evaluations and you sit down with other team members, I recommend that you do it the same day as the performance. Don't wait a week, you'll forget. So the same day as the performance, think about the evaluation and then improve upon it. And maybe your songs need to change order, or maybe you need to be more involved with the audience. Maybe you need to make sure that next time you're going to say, hey, our merch table's right over there, go buy something. So these are things that you're going to have to think about as you do that. Okay, demand quality from yourself and your team. I keep stressing the word quality. So you want to demand quality from yourself and your team. Complete your team agreements. I would assume that if any of you are in a band, maybe you don't have a band member agreement. Why not? What happens if? And then anybody who joins your team, including those that just want to help you do street teaming, you got to have some sort of agreement, of an understanding at least. What's their responsibilities and what are you responsible for? Okay, here's a big one. Separate, if only mentally, you, the person, you, the artist, your partners, and your companies. Now, the reason I say that you want to separate this is because you, the person, can tell you, the artist, what to do. Sometimes artists think they're going to be doing it their way. But if you're more rational and you, the person, start looking at your plan and go, no, we need to do this, this, and this. So you, the person, can tell you, the artist, what to do. And then if you have partners, let's say it's a band, I would think that maybe you might be interested in doing a solo thing sometime. And if that's the case, perhaps you've got to separate you, the person, you, the artist, from your partners. So this is only mentally. Separate. And as you're developing your plans, think about it as writing. And when you write your plans, use third person. The artist is going to do this. The artist plan is this. Don't say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this, or we're going to do this. No, that's keeping you together. Separate them. There's reasons for this. Register the artist's name and the trademark. No record label is going to sign an artist that doesn't have a trademark. And if they don't have a trademark, the record label is going to put them into an artist development program, and that means their career is going to be delayed for at least 6 months. So get it done ahead of time. We'll talk more about this at another class. Secure your image and your crossover. Who are you? Okay, treat every action as a career move. I mentioned to you this last week. Every action as a career move. So if you're out at the clubs, it's still a career move. While you're with your buddies, at the club, that's fine, but go introduce yourself to the talent buyer or the club buyer, club owner, maybe the person, the ticket taker, stage manager, networking, and relationship building. So every move you take from here on through the rest of your life is a career move. Now, any questions on expectations?